Do you know that whoever controls your imagination controls your life? That is why the fallen ones seek to manipulate your mind, preventing you from realizing your full potential. They flood you with fear-inducing stimuli to mold your mind to conform to a lower level of thinking, which keeps you operating far below your true capabilities. The quality of your beliefs determines the quality of your life. Your imagination holds the key to creating magic and shaping the outcome of your life. However, you can break free from these chains and manifest the immense power within you. You possess this power already, and nothing can limit or hinder you unless you allow it. But how can you break free from the manipulative simulation of these cabals? In this video, we will examine the various tactics the cabal employs to keep you enslaved and the steps you can take to reclaim your freedom. They don't want you to know about this because once you know it, you walk in a freedom that makes you tap into your divine nature and puts you far above the simulation. You will start living in a divine realm full of possibilities. That realm is not special or new. It ought to be your default reality, but the fallen ones have found a way to project something different into your mind that gives you the outcome you are currently living in. Embracing their way of thinking brings you to the level of the fallen ones. You may wonder who the fallen ones are. The fallen ones are not those whom God condemned. Rather, they are those who chose the defeated lifestyle. They willingly chose this world as their home and condescended themselves to a hopeless life. They deliberately refuse to accept transcendence, making them belong to this world in their totality. Their thinking pattern is according to the dictates of the world. What the world projects becomes what is obtainable in their lives. They do not care for what Christ said when he proclaimed, "I am not of this world." When Christ made that proclamation, he wasn't only speaking for himself but for every other mortal who would awaken to this reality. But the fallen ones chose to serve themselves. They do not care about anything other than themselves. They worship themselves, and the totality of their life is to please themselves. In the midst of this, they ignore the divine. Their attitude towards the divine realm keeps them bound to low levels. They think they are living their best lives when they only think about themselves and live to please themselves. But they do not know that that lifestyle keeps them from becoming who they ought to be. If they give room to the divine to work on them, they'll be surprised at how much great power they have within them. Now, while these people think they are serving themselves, they do not know that they are living based on a different conditioning. One way this conditioning overpowers them is by making them full of themselves to the point that they lose touch with themselves. Have you ever seen obsessed people before? Someone obsessed with power or a position. They can do anything to get it, and when they don't get it, they might take their own lives. They think their relevance depends on what they have and what they get. How about those obsessed with money? They don't care what it takes and how it leaves them. All they want is that money. The obsession is because they think they are nothing without money or any of those things they are obsessed about. That's the work of the cabal. That person can become that leader and even much more without going through that stress. But because the person has submitted to the simulation, they feel they need to go through all that stress, which in turn leads to a frustrated life, throwing them farther away from their dreams. Even when they manage to accomplish it, it comes at the expense of their health, well-being, family, and relationships. This leaves you wondering what the essence of gaining one thing and losing everything else is. But it wasn't designed this way. God didn't create you only to have one win and be defeated in other areas. He created you to have dominion. You are to rule and dominate. You are above those things and they do not define you. Your reality is not based on whether you have them because they are like servants at your service, and they'll come to you when you engage the right key. Let's look at how the fallen ones work to keep people bound to the low life. Here are the tricks, methods, and strategies of the fallen ones. They do these things to keep you in the simulation without you even knowing about it. The number one thing they do is to gain control over your mind. As a man thinks in his heart, so is he. Once they get into your mind, they continue the work from there and make you continually answer them. How do they do this? The number one way is to manipulate what you hear. What you hear goes a long way in affecting what becomes of you, and that is the simulation. Have you seen someone just mildly sick and then go to the doctor to find out the problem? The doctor checks the person and diagnoses that the person is suffering from a chronic, life-threatening disease that would take the person's life in a few months. Immediately after the person leaves the hospital, they start deteriorating so badly that they truly die in a few months. That's one side of the matrix. There is another side, those who have not surrendered to the simulation, those who are awakened to their inner power and ability, and those who know who they truly are and what they possess. These are the ones who would hear such news from a doctor and refuse it. What you hear programs your mind, and that's why they use a lot of things to send negative news to your mind. But if your mind is already operating at a different frequency, what you hear that's not in line with what you believe will not make it to your mind. So, your belief is like a guard door to your mind. If you believe you are defeated, every word you hear accentuates that belief. Even when the words are not tailored to that line, you will continue to hear your mind's beliefs. That's how powerful the mind is, which is why the simulation targets the mind. Everything they do is to project something to your mind that will control the way you think. Once your thinking is controlled, your entire life moves according to that simulation. Once they gain control over your mind, they move your mind in the direction they want. They divert your focus from the important things that can change your life to trivial and inconsequential things. When God created you, He said He made you have dominion, to be like Him and be a God in your own right. However, these people know how dangerous it is for you to have your mind focused on the right thing, and so they make you spend your time and energy doing what other mere mortals do. You are created to live above the mortals, so if your way of life conforms to the mortals, it's a sign that you have yet to tap into your supernatural identity. If you exist only to work, make money, have children, build a house, and probably travel the world or do other things, you've not tapped into your supernatural identity. You are living in the simulation because they've made you believe that is your whole essence. But your life is worth much more than that. You are to live on a higher pedestal with a deeper purpose to positively affect humanity. The fallen ones also project illusions and lies to you to keep you bound. These illusions can be passed through movies, cultural beliefs, mindsets, etc. They project a false reality that causes you to be afraid of what the future holds, and that fear forces you to conform to what they want and keeps you limited. The law of thermodynamics states that energy cannot be created or destroyed. It can only be changed from form to form. So, the energy in your soul cannot be destroyed but can be negatively conditioned. When you believe that you are limited, have no significance, and are nothing but specks of dust, the simulation gains control over your identity. This is in great contrast to who you truly are. You have the divine love and ability to create imaginative masterpieces that make the world a better place. Tapping into this ability and using it for the good of humanity puts you on the pedestal of gods. You can create things from the spiritual realm to this material realm, but you can only do this well when you are in control of your mind. When the fallen ones start controlling your mind, they will control what you project, and everything you create will be thanks to their influence. This manipulation is so subtle that you might not even notice it. A person who is being controlled like that would come up with concepts and ideas that are not original to them, but belong to the fallen ones. They'll use that person's mind to portray and project whatever they want. You can know that the product of that imaginative creation would be harmful or fulfill a wrong purpose. So how do you escape this simulation? It is not enough for you to know what they have been doing to you or get mad at the reality that you've been living as a puppet when you ought to be a master. You need to know how to escape it. You need to know how to awaken from the present reality of mediocrity, defeat, and limitation into the reality of dominion and control. You need to know how to come out of the manipulation and gain freedom from within that will manifest in every area of your life. Come into the awakening. The awakening is not a strange thing. It's a state of consciousness where you connect with who you are and the divine. This simply means knowing God and knowing who you are. A person who is not connected to the divine cannot truly know who they are. They can guess around and try to believe they are something based on traits they see in themselves or their family members. But those are inconsequential enough to tell you who you are. You need the touch of the divine to awaken to who you are. When you come into this consciousness, you can begin to tap into the immense power in you, one of which is the power of your mind. You need to learn to focus your mind. Contrary to popular belief, your mind is not out of your reach. It is not an alien part of you that you cannot control. Your mind is your tool, your gadget of divine inspiration and wholesome living, so you can control and focus it. To escape the simulation, you need to focus your mind. What do you focus your mind on? Focus on who you are, on the great abilities resident within you, on tapping into those abilities and creating wonders with them. As you focus your mind on these things, you begin to let go of fear and all the wrong beliefs the simulation has brought you. You begin to rid yourself of the defeated mindset that has held you captive. You begin to tap into your inner greatness that makes you bold, courageous, and fearless. You are no longer timid or cowardly. You start confronting things that have left you shivering in fear before. As you progress in your journey of escaping the simulation, you have to believe in yourself above everything else. If you believe every other thing and person except yourself, you are still living in the simulation because the simulation wants you to believe every other thing and person is powerful except you. So you need to make believing in yourself a priority. Not just believe that you can do certain things, but believe that you can do all things. This sounds like a pointless motivation, but that's because you've not realized the level of power within you. You are powerful beyond measure and can achieve everything you set your heart to. Finally, you need to be conscious of the simulation and always wage war against it. Even if you think you know who you truly are and the power within you, the simulation won't leave you alone. There are times when the simulation will come to make a deal with your mind, and you will be confronted with suggestions to give up what you believe and take on another belief pattern. This exchange is often called selling your soul to the devil. While many people might not outrightly hand over their souls to the devil per se, they give up their minds to the devil's thinking pattern. This, in turn, controls their lives and makes them prone to whatever happens to people in the lower realm. As you go through life, don't ever lose sight of your identity and always fuel your energy towards the right direction so that even when you face suggestions to give up your identity for something trivial, remember that it's a costly exchange that is not worth it. Your soul is calling and your purpose awaits. Together.